It's time to hit the road and discover Texas with Annie Studebaker. Get ready to travel deep into the heart of the Lone Star State, meeting friendly folks and exploring fascinating places. Experience a way of life like nowhere else in the world as we uncover the rich history and culture of Texas. Discover adventure, discover excitement, discover Texas with Annie Studebaker.
Today, we're going to visit the Longhorn Museum located in Pleasanton, Texas. This museum contains some amazing artifacts, portraits, and written documents that portray Atascosa County, along with a breathtaking wildlife game exhibit. Let's go check it out. Valerie?
Yes, hi, how are you?
I'm Annie Studebaker.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. Wow, I see you have a lot of stuff here.
We do mostly Atascosa County and surrounding county history, and we're very proud of it.
Great. Okay, and who do we have here? Hi, I'm Annie Studebaker.
Jolynn, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jolynn. Oh, okay. Great, great. So we've got great help here. So let's look around. Show us around.
Okay.
Tell me about this big longhorn.
The Longhorn. He was 22 years old when he died, and I understand our local historian, Norman Porter, went to the field and dressed it and then took it to taxidermist and had it stuffed.
My goodness,
And of course,
huge.
for the museum, yes.
It's huge.
I believe it was a steer, and it says it was 22 years old when it died.
22. I wonder how long they live.
Evidently a long time.
Goodness gracious, that is big.
Yes, been here a long time.
Look how tall it is.
Yes. And according to what I've heard, these horns are not as long, some get twice that long as far as spread.
They do twice as long?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We do have longhorn in our ranch, but they're not this big.
Right?
This is pretty big. Interesting.
He's huge, kind of our mascot, if you will.
Around the corner, I saw something. My goodness, what is that? A hearse?
Yes, it's a horse-drawn hearse from the 1800s.
Wow.
It belonged to the Akers family, as you can see, Roy Akers. I think it was built in Louisiana and originally used in Louisiana. And Mr. Akers pulled it for several years in the parades in San Antonio before he donated it to the museum.
My goodness. And did he have a funeral home?
Yeah, Roy Akers Funeral Home in
home,
San
okay.
Antonio. If you ever watch any westerns, you'll see him in what do they call, just a wagon, just a wooden wagon.
Yes.
He said you had to be wealthy to be taken to your grave in a hearse like this.
Goodness. I never thought I'd say a hearse is beautiful, but this really is built.
It is.
Fine quality wood, and look at it. It's so nicely finished. My goodness. That.
Doors open in the back, and the story that when I researched, it's got a hollow floor, thin but hollow floor. And I asked why. If there was a long drive to the cemetery, they put ice in there to help preserve.
Oh, how interesting. And you can see inside,
Yes.
it has little,
Those
you
are,
could pull up and put stuff inside the containers?
Yes.
My goodness, interesting.
and that's the story I was told. They would put ice, if it was a long drive, they put ice in there. This was one of the teller windows from the first bank in Pleasanton, Texas.
Wow, this is neat. Let me see what it feels like to be behind a teller
Absolutely.
window. I never have. I'm here. This is neat. Oh, wow, and a big safe.
It took I believe it took 6
Can't even budget.
No, it was and supposedly takes everything. It's got all the clockwork. It could be set to open and not open.
My goodness, one big old giant screw.
What do they call it? It took 6 or 7 of our city guys and a hoist to get it in here. And no, it does not move.
My goodness.
Cutest story about that. We had a field trip of kindergarten children, and we came through here on our tour, and one little girl pulls on my shirt and she goes, "I know what that is." I hadn't said anything yet. And I said, "Really? That's great." She goes, "We have one at home. It's a front load washer."
Oh,
You know, she has no, you know.
cute.
I laughed. I thought that was one of the cutest things I've heard.
Oh, that's a
a
cute
front load
story.
washer.
Wow. And here?
A replica of the old time general store. As I try to explain to the kids that the stores back in those days, you could walk into it and buy anything from medicine to tobacco to a piece of candy. And it's so hard for them to fathom that. Just one little store. You could buy an apple and then one asked, "Well, what is tobacco?" So I explained that. And typically the old stores had the little window put up, and that was your post office. It was almost always in part of the little store.
Don't go away. When we return, we'll continue our tour of all the wonderful displays the Longhorn Museum has to offer. Then later, we will visit the amazing wildlife game exhibit along with the railroad exhibit. See you soon.
This is some of the original equipment from our radio station, KBOP, that used to broadcast here for many years. And Willie Nelson was a DJ and operated, yes, that's where he got his start, actually.
Oh, wow.
We have his original broadcast license on the wall there.
How interesting.
He was a good friend. The painting on the wall, that's the Parkers, Ben and Mona Parker. They are the original founders of the Longhorn Museum. And that's Mr. Parker and Willie Nelson in the other corner up in that picture.
How neat.
He lived on their ranch and worked for them.
And what have we got here?
Just a replica of an old-time living room. And we always ask the kids, what's not in this living room that you have in your home? And 9 times out of 10, they'll look around and go, "There's no TV."
No Xbox, no PlayStation.
Exactly. And we tell them no. They would sit around, we'd show them, "That's a radio." And they're like, "That's a radio?" Yes.
It's
and
a
they
neat looking radio.
They would sit around that and
piano.
listen to shows. That's a pump organ, actually, from the 1800s. You had to pump it at the bottom on those pedals to build up air to play.
Oh, neat. This always fascinates me. Does it have like an ice box in there?
That was actually what they called a pie safe. And the only thing that I've learned, or my grandma actually told me, that some of them had screen, and this one probably had a screen or cheesecloth in the front of it. And they literally would put, like they made a pie, they would put it in there, keep it kind of cool, keep the flies off of it. It's actually called a pie safe.
How interesting.
And again, we ask the kids, we tell them, they're like, "Oh, they had a refrigerator," and we'll say, "No, it was actually an ice box." And it was called an ice box because someone had to drive to town and buy ice, put it in the bottom, and it kept your things cool. Not cold.
For a day or two.
Maybe. And then, of course, the wood stove.
Oh, I love that.
And the kids are just so cute.
This is nice.
I guess it's really hard for them to fathom that you really had to go chop wood and build a fire in there to cook something. Mm-hmm. This is our local sheriff. Tommy Williams reigned the longest. And he just retired, and he gave us basically his first badge, his first pistol, his first ever boots, his first hat. Wow. And I'm thinking like 21 years or longer that he was our local sheriff. And he just retired, I think, last year.
Whoa, very special boots right there.
Very. And then in that case, I bring it up to people because you see that wreath on the back?
Yes.
That's made entirely out of hair.
This wreath is made out of hair?
Yes.
There's glass here. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Yes. And when it was, as you can see, when it was given to the museum, It was 115 years old in 1978. And the only story that I received, you know, I ask a lot when people donate, I want a story with it, but you don't always get a story. When she would cut her family's hair, she saved it. And then she would, whatever she did, to me it's almost magic. I don't know how she did it.
That's a lot of work, let me tell you.
It's very intricate, very intricate.
My, that's wonderful, wonderful. Cute little clothes.
All the baby things. And from what I understand, they made everything, you know, back then. They made everything, whether it was crocheted or sewn.
A lot of that fabric came from flour sacks. And
Yes,
stuff like
yes,
that, right? Sugar
absolutely, absolutely.
sack. Look at this. This is an old doctor's office.
Well, dentist, chair and equipment, and then of course the old wooden wheelchairs, and then the rest is doctors. The little black bags that they would carry.
This gives us an idea of what type of equipment and furniture they had in their offices.
Right.
The doctors and dentists. Interesting.
Yes. Compared to today, probably primitive.
Look
But-
at all this stuff.
And again, it's a shame that I don't know what all of it is. We have turned this thing upside down and inside out looking for a number so that because when something comes in, it gets a number and then it gets put on the computer and written down on paper. But this was way before, most of this was here way before I was hired. So if I don't find a number on it, I don't, and we have tried Googling and
You don't know what it was used for?
no. Lots of speculation, blood transfusions, you know, you can read what it says on it, but like I said, we have Googled and cannot come up with a direct answer as to what it is.
This picture needs to be on Google. It just,
Right,
can somebody tell me what this is?
right.
I recognize all those. Boy.
Oh, yes.
I tell you what, all kinds.
Yes. And of course, that's a sterilizer.
This looks pretty modern, you know. It still kind of looks like
Right.
that. They're little medical bags. How nice.
That's when doctors would, when you rode up and called them or what, they would grab that bag and come to your house.
House visits.
Yes.
The dentist chair does not look comfortable.
Not appealing at all.
Oh, it's scary, actually.
I don't like dentist, period, but I sure wouldn't want to sit in that one.
Too
And that's what our visitors, we hear them back here and they're like, oh no.
Too much stuff hanging out. That's
We had
scary.
some people come in from London and she said, there's dentists on the streets. And I was like, really? She said yes. She said probably not now, but there was a time, she's from there, and that there were dentists on the street corners. Okay.
I saw that in National Geographic show where there were dentists on the streets and they just,
Right.
patients come and do their work.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it used to be, I guess. Well,
I guess people could walk by and see what you were having done.
okay. This is so nice. So much. There's so much to talk about. I know what.
Well,
See, I have one of these, identical.
Really?
I do.
Have you ever made butter with
No, but we have cattle and we just haven't. So
Yeah.
I'm missing the
plunger?
plunger. Let me see what it looked. I have I have more of these
Yes,
than I do. I only have one bowl and I have like 4 of these.
because they get broken. See, the wood one, that's also a butter churn, but you crank it.
Oh, this one.
No, that's an ice cream. This one is the churn.
This is a churn?
Mm-hmm.
This is a churn.
Yes. See the paddles?
Oh, wow. I'm going to move this here, Danny. Get inside. Whoa. That didn't work. Let me try something else.
There you go, move it.
Okay,
There you
here.
go.
Let me do it this way. Okay.
In my opinion, that would make a lot of butter.
Interesting.
But that is a very, very large butter churn.
You know, people work so hard.
Day and night. I asked someone, well, in fact, Mr. Porter, I was going through some of the books we have, and I kept looking at these people, gorgeous people, and I asked him, why aren't any of them smiling? Nobody's laughing, nobody's smiling. And he said, honey, there's 2 reasons for that. A lot of them didn't have any teeth or didn't have good teeth, and they were tired. They were mad, they were tired, had no reason to smile. They worked from sun up to sundown. Kind of put it in perspective for me.
Amazing. I know,
I mean, when they got finished, they ate and they went to bed.
Don't go away. When we return, we'll take a look at the enormous wildlife game exhibit at the Longhorn Museum, along with an exhibit of a caboose and train depot filled with memorabilia of its time. Oh my, check this out. Look at this.
We've actually been told we have kind of a world-class animal collection with this. When my daughter and her family moved to Washington, the first thing the little one wanted to do was go to the Smithsonian there. So they took her as soon as they were settled in, and you know, out of the mouths of babes, they go through, they're leaving, and the lady says, we hope y'all enjoyed our museum. And Carly says, oh yes, but my grandma's got more animals in hers than y'all have.
How cute.
And which they've got some different kind than we do.
True.
But
I was impressed.
and then I asked my daughter, and she said, no, Mom, y'all really do have more animals.
You really, really do. Look at that. Okay, where did these come from? I know they did not come from here.
No. And we tried to group them as far as basically this is North America and the other wall will be Africa, but donated by 2 local doctors that used to practice here.
Okay, that's a huge bear right there.
Yes, Alaskan brown. And evidently they hunted profusely.
My goodness, Danny, don't let that thing get you.
Because
this prestigious collection belonged to Dr. John Fagert and Dr. Ray Shriver, and it includes animals from around the world. This display reflects the great adventures of their successful hunting expeditions. This collection includes 196 separate items that will truly make you admire the beauty of the amazing animals of our world. I think it's great that you work with a school, so they come here and the kids get to learn about everything within the community. That's very interesting.
Yes.
So this is the room where you meet and talk about it, and then they do the tour.
Right.
This is great. This is great.
And any school that can't afford it, you know, we don't charge. Well, it's by donation. So any school that, you know, we had some rough years there for a while. They could come here and not spend a penny except getting here and see all of this and get the tour. So.
What do you charge to get into the museum?
It's a donation.
Strictly donations.
Well, we're very fortunate back in, I don't know the exact year, the Parkers could not maintain it and they were getting older, so they gave it to the city.
I see.
And so, you know, the city maintains it. So.
And wow, what is down here?
The Old West. The Old West. Let's see if I can remember. Doctor's buggy, the black one, family wagon, stagecoach and mail coach, covered wagon, chuck wagon. This is a portion of a blacksmith shop. The sharpener, actually, well, it's got a blower on it. That's a very small, what did they call those? It would heat the horseshoe, you know, and then you pound it on the anvil. Forge. They call it a forge.
Now everything's
well, now you call it. No, when one, you know, when a horse drops a shoe, now you call a farrier. You don't do it yourself. You call a farrier. This is how we explain it to the children. This is basically how they slept on the ground when they went on a cattle drive or even went to visit. There were no hotels and motels. They slept on the ground. They built a fire. They put the coffee pot on the coals. They cooked in the cast iron, and they would eat. And then their saddle was a pillow, and they slept on the ground.
The saddle was a pillow. A little bit hard, don't you think?
Very, very hard, but that's the way it was.
Imagine they had to keep their head up just to open their eyes, make sure they saw their surroundings.
Exactly. So we tried to recreate a small area that would, you know, look like that or duplicate it.
In this exhibit, we get a feel of the old railroad experience. I took a quick tour of the depot and was amazed at how authentic everything was. This is where people gathered briefly before boarding the train. They had old railroad nails, tools, a sliding door, a ticket booth, old maps, and a giant map of the railroad.
This was actually where the railroad went. And story has it that that's why Camelton went down and did not boom. Camelton, Christine, because the railroad bypassed them. And that's initially in the very beginning, and that's why those towns did not flourish like Pleasanton and Jourdanton.
So where are we right now on the map?
It's even
Here's
Jourdanton, and then North Pleasanton and Pleasanton.
So are we here now or are we here?
We are, as far as
We're here.
Yes. I don't even know if there really is a North Pleasanton anymore. That was way, way back. I don't know if there is one anymore.
We've got to go all the way to Willacy County today.
Oh, wow.
We may stick around another day.
And the over here, the San Antonio, Uvalde, and Gulf, the old timers, they all called it the Sausage Railroad.
Why?
S-A, San Antonio, S-A-U-G.
Sausage.
Mr. Porter to this day calls it Sausage Railroad.
Oh, how cute. Okay, great. Now it's time for a quick tour of the caboose.
The depot is originally from North Pleasanton. The caboose was brought in, our historian, Mr. Porter, had it brought in, and I think from Ohio had it shipped in, I'm not positive. And of course redid it, put it on the tracks, so it would be, you know, go along with the depot. And the little ones don't know the caboose was the end of the train. We all waited, you know, to wave to it when the train came by. And I'm assuming because of the places there are to lay down, that they would take shifts, you know? And I'm also assuming it was kind of self-supportive because of the heat and the bathroom. And that's really, how many were in here, I don't know, but I know there was always someone, you know, in it when the train was moving.
Next time you're in the area or looking for a place to visit, be sure to stop by the Longhorn Museum, where local history is preserved and shared through its many memorable displays. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time.